It's the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7, and tonight we have with us Olds 88 as we go a little bit on the rockabilly side, which I'm going to admit to you guys before we get started, it's one of those things that I kind of enjoy. You know how everybody has like that little secret thing that they don't tell everybody that they like? Yeah, that's one of those things that I kind of enjoy. Yeah. So as we go around the room tonight, I'll tell you who we have with us. If you'll introduce yourself, say your name, and the instrument that you play.
I'm David Elkins. I play bass guitar.
Lonnie Waters, lead guitar and lead singer.
Brad Lee, drums.
You guys are all here this evening, but we are missing one member of the band. You want to tell them about the missing member?
Yeah, Ted Day, he's the piano player. It's great. He also plays a lot of the fill-ins, like the strings. He plays the piano and the strings at one time. He does a lot of work. And he also does sings some Jerry Lee songs. He does a lot of that that's really enjoyable. And the guy sounds a lot like Jerry Lee when he plays the piano.
Well, now your music is kind of in that vein, though. Really, right. You've got a lot. Yours is more of a throwback, I would say. Trying to put it in perspective for anybody that's not really familiar with what you guys do, it's kind of a throwback to those days. And some of those greater artists, I think, some of the ones that really influenced the showman that we have today, came from that time, I think. So I think on your site you list, let's see, Jerry Lee and Ricky Nelson. I think I saw that name on there. You don't hear that referenced very often these days.
Elvis, even Beatles.
Pretty good, a mix of different styles and things, and your influences clearly come from that. But with the bands that are out there right now, do you feel pressure when you go out places as far as, we don't look like the other ones, we don't sound like the other ones, we're not as accepted as the other ones, or do you look at it as, who cares?
As far as I'm concerned, I enjoy that we're different, because really nobody else dresses the way we dress, Nobody really is really doing that kind of music much. There's a few that they're kind of scattered, but we're pretty much of an active show.
Well, you put it in all aspects, though. It's not just the music has a distinct sound to it, but you also put in, as you said, a show, and you guys take the time to actually get suits on and get dressed up and go out and perform.
Well, that's how they used to do it. Yeah, that's how they used to do it. So, like one of our songs, the title "Back in the Day," that reflects us a lot. We try to put people back to that time.
Well, let's talk about "Back in the Day" because it's got some pretty good lyrics to it, and I'm just kind of curious. Other than the fact that it's talking about back in the day, how did that one come together?
Well, we were writing songs, and a lot of the songs on the album, Brad and I wrote, but Dave here came up with an idea. Hey, what about Did he talk to you about it first?
Yeah, he mentioned it. He had a great title of Back in the Day, and it was just spot on. It was perfect.
So we started writing it.
Now, the lyrics, they just flew, or?
Oh, they flew, because when I told Brad about it, I was mentioning lots of things, like, back in the day they used to do this and the car shows and and next time I saw him at rehearsal, he's like, "Hey, we wrote that song back in the day." so Lonnie and Brad had already written it, and it was turned out great.
I just come up with a little riff on the guitar and started trying to figure out what would go up with,
All right, well, we're talking with Olds 88 about Back in the Day, so how about if we go ahead and share that with everybody? This is Back in the Day from Olds 88 on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. It is the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. Each week we try to sit down with a different group from around the area and talk to them about the music that they're making. And over the previous weeks, we've had all kinds of different music in. Tonight, we are going with Olds 88 and discussing their music, which we've already said is kind of a throwback to the rockabilly days and some of those types of songs. And I think we're talking as we're just kind of like in between things here about how the music flows and how it addresses different generations. And you don't just have people that are older crowd coming to your thing. You have the younger crowd too, but I think that's the appeal of this music. It appeals to everybody. Would you agree with that, or?
I think it moves everybody. I don't think you can put an age bracket on what we do because just the vibe of the music moves everybody. It's not just the older crowd or the younger crowd, but everybody all at the same time. So at our shows, everybody enjoys it from all different age groups. So
it's the roots of rock and roll.
Yeah, that's a good word.
In them days, it was so clean and innocent. It's just fun stuff, and that's why the kids like it. And then you got the older people like it because it just takes them back. they can't find that anywhere. It just puts them back in a time.
Well, as a group, do you find yourself whenever you're out in front of a crowd going, I don't know about this crowd. This is going to be a hard, or do you just wait for the music to bring
let
them
it
along
rip.
because you know it's going to come?
So far, we find that if they're at the show, everybody enjoys it.
Well, now, how long have you guys actually been a group proper?
This is our fourth year, I
Fourth
think.
year, yeah.
Fourth year together. But
And
we've
how
all
did the
played
band-
music before.
Yeah,
You've all
Brad
been
and
playing
Lonnie,
for years.
Yeah,
so-
well, Brad and Lonnie and I played for years together, off and on for 20 years, I guess.
Ted Day called me one day. He said, "Hey, let's get together, and jam a little bit." He said, "Why don't you call Brad and maybe have him come up and play some drums?" At that time, I think it was just kind of in between time that we wasn't playing with anybody at that time. That was strange that happened. And then so I gave Brad a call and I talked to him about it, and so he said, "Hey, why don't we just, no obligation, maybe just get together and just see what happens. Maybe we should start a band in this music." And we said, "Hey, let's have a name and stuff." So me and Brad started talking, and we came up with Olds 88.
Now, how did you get that?
On the movie Great Balls of Fire, the Jerry Lee movie, the first car he bought was an Olds 88, and actually the song that they played during that on the soundtrack of the movie was Rocket 88, and so it was an Oldsmobile, so that's how we come up with the name Olds 88.
Yeah, and he mentioned in High School Confidential that he did.
Yeah, that's a great
Doing a
movie.
lot of songs.
It's a great car. by the way.
Well, if you're looking
still
for a
have
great
one.
car to go with the music, there you go.
It is.
So you guys had all known each other and jammed in different settings, I'm guessing, and so you just kind of knew that there was going to be chemistry, or was there reluctance? Was there any of this? Maybe this won't work out. Was there
I
any
think
of
we
that?
just kind of threw a shot in the dark and said, let's see what happens. And when we all got together, it was a genre that I had heard but had never really played, and I didn't know if I was going to enjoy it or not. And once all of us really got together, it just felt right.
About 20
Yeah.
songs we rehearsed.
Yeah.
It was worthy of a show, I think, at that time.
That's right.
Our first rehearsal.
First
we did
rehearsal.
like
Not
20
trying to
songs. Yeah.
brag or anything. I didn't mean it
Yeah.
that way. It's just,
That's
Sure
all
you
right.
did.
no, it was great that we
It just
fell
felt
right
good.
in it.
It just felt good, and I think that's really what we convey in the show is it feels good, and it's how we try to make people feel. We make them feel good, and they know they've had a show at the end of the night. They know it.
Well, we're going to talk some more about what else you guys have been doing and get to know a little bit more about Olds 88 as we continue on the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. It is the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7, talking this week in studio with Olds 88. And we've been discussing your music, what got you into deciding that you were going to go this route, and how long the band's been together and things. And you said that one of the things that you pride yourself on is family-oriented. Was
Well,
that-
it's kind of like you mentioned that song earlier, "When the Sun Shine." Back in that era when Sun Records was happening, music had a different feel. It had a different look. It was just on the rise of what we now know of rock and roll. And I think that's how Lonnie came up with "When the Sun Shine." How it used to be.
Going with that and saying that this is what you wanted to make music-wise, how are your families receiving this? Are they all on board with this?
Oh,
I mean,
It's
You
hard
guys-
to be a musician in any genre, no matter what it is, unless you've got a support group behind you,
now you guys get out and do shows. How far away do you go for these shows? Do you
anywhere.
anywhere
We'll go
that
anywhere.
you get the phone call from California? You there?
We're going,
We're going.
yeah. We're going.
I wish we would.
Yeah.
So what is the most farthest you've actually traveled for a show?
With this band,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
this-
with this
yeah.
band, let's stick to
Let's
this
just-
band.
we've been in Kentucky and
Yeah.
cities in Kentucky, and they seem to really like what we do there.
Yeah, Tennessee and Kentucky, I would say. Because we've only been together 4 years, so we've not branched out as far as we'd like, of course. But Kentucky and Tennessee seem to receive us very well.
Have you ever had one of those shows where they booked you, you get there, and you weren't what they expected, and it just kind of went south? Or
I don't really think
I
so.
don't think it's been anything negative as far as that. We were definitely probably something they didn't expect, especially with the way we dress and what the kind of music we play. But it was, I think they were pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
so it kind of turned to your advantage then.
Yeah.
Well, is Has there ever been a venue that you were like, that is the venue? From now on, we don't care what we do. We've got to come back to this place.
Yeah, downtown arena in Nashville. Oh no, we did. I was dreaming that. Sorry.
No. We did a show up in Jamestown, and we played outside. And for some reason, they wanted it outside, and we played. And it was kind of chilly that day.
I believe it was just cold.
It was kind of cold. Yeah,
It was just cold.
And we were playing, and then the wind started getting up. I mean, and stuff was just like blowing across the roads and stuff, and people are out there dancing in it, and then it started raining, and then just finally we had to quit. You know, we had to stop, and I don't know why they should have done it inside, but we.
So you actually had people that were out dancing in the rain.
They were
Absolutely.
dancing in the rain.
They were having a great time. They were
just
mad
out
you
there
quit.
boogieing.
Yeah, there's an old car show there too, and they had a bunch of old cars, and I heard a big clacking sound behind me, and I thought Brad was counting off another song, and I turned around, and it was his teeth going.
I couldn't feel my fingers. I didn't know if I was holding sticks or not. It was cold.
Well, we mentioned When the Sun Shine, and that's probably on your album, I think, a good representation. You've got how many songs on the album in all?
There's
I
11.
think there's 11. Yeah.
11 tracks, and there's
There's
it-
12.
there's a couple of slow ones, there's a couple of happy up-tempo ones, and I think of what represents you guys, at least whenever I listen to it, my opinion, When the Sun Shine, I thought was a really nice sell of what you guys want to represent, and I think, as you said, that's what it does. So
Thank you, though.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. We mentioned our heroes in that song, in the lyrics of it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, well, we're going to go ahead and play that song for everybody so that they have a chance to hear it now. This is When the Sun Shine. It's Olds 88 on the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7. It is the 9 o'clock news local edition here on Rock 93.7. This week, sitting down, talking with Olds 88 and having some good reflections on what music used to be like. And you guys have kind of revived that a little bit with what you've put together. You have one album right now. And are you guys working on something else?
Well, yeah, we've got other CDs.
Yeah,
That just happens to be all
Oh, I'm
original.
sorry.
Yeah, that's the all original.
That's the all
The
original.
all original
We have a
CD.
live
Well,
CD.
you- Yeah, that's what I'm
discs,
talking about is original music. Here.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you've got one CD of original music that you've done.
We
Now,
did-
you guys, of course, with your influences, I'm sure you do a lot of classic songs and stuff in your performances.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and cover a lot of your, as you call them, your heroes and your legends. And so I'm sure you do those. But as far as original stuff that you guys have put together, we've got one CD under the belt. Are we working on another collection? Or?
We're hoping that this spring to get back in the studio and punch out another one. Hopefully.
Yeah, some original stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
this
And then of the other stuff you do have, you said live. So
yeah, I mean,
Even a Christmas, we did a Christmas.
we did a Christmas show.
online, if they want to look for these things, if they want to get their hands on them, they can go find you. You're at Reverb Nation.
Mm-hmm.
So just put in Reverb Nation and look for Olds 88.
They can go to olds88.net. They can find us on Facebook. Just look for Olds88 on Facebook.
We got a couple things on YouTube.
Yep, YouTube. I've got some videos out there. I think Scotty's got some out there.
Now, they just go for the Olds 88 website, and it will take them to these different places and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Olds88.net. Yep.
Olds88.net will get you to where you need to be to see all this stuff, to get their Facebook page. And now, on your Facebook, do you put your appearances where you're going to be at?
Yeah, we try to update that as much as we can. And, we also update Reverb Nation as well as much as we can where we're going to be. A lot of times when we are traveling, though, it's hard to keep everything, in a line. And we do forget sometimes, but it's pretty current.
I also want to throw out there 4 months clean and sober.
Hey.
I want to
It's a
thank
great
you to the
thing.
guys that have put up with me during that time.
Has that made a difference in your music, you think?
Absolutely. I mean,
Made a difference in his timing, I can tell you that.
yeah, I played a lot of
Timing
shows and
of showing up on time.
a lot of shows like that
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
don't even remember.
Yeah, 4 years clean and sober is better than 4 years of drunk and disorderly.
Hey, that was a good show last night. He's like, it was?
But you guys sound like you're very passionate about what you're doing, and you
Yeah.
guys are taking this in the right direction. And I love to hear the whole multi-generational thing. I think that's awesome because, as I said when we first started, that one of my secret vices is I enjoy music of this nature. And I think as you get older, not saying that you're patterned for just older crowds, but you begin to understand music a little bit more. Your tastes get a little bit more eclectic, and seeing young kids pick it up early on, it makes a difference. I know it was in my house growing up,
Yeah.
and we had a lot of the records and stuff. And so years later, it's a difference from being made to listen to it to wanting to listen to it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
We played all kinds of music. We've played different kinds, but to me, this has been my favorite. I had older sisters that used to play those things when I was a little fella, and I think it was just my first love of hearing that music, and it just never left me.
I think you noticed that in Lonnie's writing too. It influences her a lot. There's a song on the CD called "You Don't Know." It's a ballad that'll just rip your heart out. I mean, you can tell that it was written in that old Sam Cooke kind of style. I mean, it was. You can tell he's been influenced by the Jerry Lee generation of.
That's another one of the songs that we have of yours.
Yeah,
too,
I was taking a walk one day, and that come to me, and I started having this melody, kind of writing it in my mind and singing it along, and it's come to me. So the first thing I did was called Brad. I said, "Man, I think I'm on track to a good song here. You need to help me." I'm stuck. So,
he couldn't spell no.
No.
It is kind of tricky.
Or he, for that matter. It's amazing how songs get written in very short periods of time. And over my songwriting career, it's the best songs are the ones that are written in 15 minutes. They wrote that one on the phone, basically. So, I mean, it's a awesome tune.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing more original material from you guys. And you can get out and go see them, and you can find Reverb Nation, Facebook, keep up with where they're going to be at. Guys, thank you so much for coming in to talk to us.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
It's been a pleasure.
This has been the 9 o'clock news local edition on Rock 93.7.